We're gonna start off with P. Diddy.
That's where we're at so far, folks. He's still going.
So what, they're doing jury deliberation right now?
Ask them just one sex. Love sex. Beautiful thing between them. 11-year relationship, not one text that they can show you.
Yes, for the 50th time.
Mark's like, this is not racketeering. He's like, all this crime scene tape, just Astro Glide and Baby Will. She goes for it. She liked Combs as she had a relationship with another singer, songwriter.
Yeah, we're having loading problems. Come on. Oh, sorry. Prosecution. Red alert. 4 a.m. Missile storm hits USS Truman. That's how long that's not.
4:42 a.m. April 2nd, 2025. A swarm of 15 ballistic missiles and more than 20 drones launched from Yemen hurtled toward the USS Harry S. Truman, a 100,000-ton, $13 billion plus symbol of American naval dominance. It was more than an attack. It was a challenge, a direct strike at the heart of the American military presence in one of the most strategically important waterways on Earth. The enemy thought they could blind her, break her, sink her. But what followed was more than a defense. It was a lesson in modern warfare, a lesson that would echo across the oceans into the hallways of every military command in the world. This is the untold story of how a U.S. aircraft carrier survived the biggest drone and missile ambush in decades and responded with firepower, silence, and precision. Subscribe and follow along as we reveal military secrets. What happened when the ship was attacked? Let's discover the truth. April 1st, 2025. The Red Sea lay calm beneath a cloudless sky. The USS Harry S. Truman, a $13 billion floating fortress, moved steadily through international waters, its crew unaware that within minutes they would face the most coordinated missile and drone assault on a U.S. carrier in decades. At exactly 4:42 a.m., alarms shattered the silence on the carrier.
Let's bring in retired U.S. Army Brigadier General Don.
Doesn't matter.
Good morning to you. So a lot of people waking up right now at the end of a pretty remarkable week. And yesterday we got incredible details on Operation Midnight Hammer with General Kane during his press briefing. Listen to a portion of what he had to say here.
Operation Midnight Hammer was the culmination of those 15 years of incredible work.
They gave a
We
Midnight
believe
Hammer.
that this is the largest
Like a
single
Midnight
Patriot
Hammer.
engagement in U.S. military history. Weapons 2, 3, 4, 5 were tasked to enter the main
Are you guys
shaft,
sick of hearing about
move
P. Diddy?
down into the complex at greater than 1,000 feet per second, and explode in the mission space. Here's what we know following the attacks and the strikes on Fordow. First, that the weapons were built, tested, and loaded properly. 2, the weapons were released on speed and on parameters. 3, the weapons all guided to their intended targets and to their intended aim points. 4, the weapons functioned as designed, meaning they exploded.
to you with the information he provided?
Well, I think transparency is to be recognized and to be applauded. You know, first of all, I fully support the strike. I think it was necessary. I think it was necessary to support our Israeli partners.
I support the
He
trip,
sent a message,
the people that
he
flew
sent a
those
big
B-52
message.
on that
These
32-hour
GBU
flight. That's a hell of a
57s,
flight. 32
deep
hours.
penetration,
They took off
delayed
in Nebraska,
detonation, high explosive,
and then they landed back in Nebraska
precision
after
guided,
doing their
and
bombing.
as
They
the chairman
refueled
pointed
in the air.
out, global positioning system and the inertial navigation
Where the
system
B-52s
allowed it
were
to
at.
come in on position, on velocity, and on orientation and destroy
I wonder how
those
many times they had
targets.
to refuel in between there.
They used them
Here's
against
the hole.
the optimal target set on facilities.
That's a pretty big
And,
hole. I would
you know,
say they annihilated the
desire
hole.
is to disable the enemy infrastructure and
Well,
reduce its ability
on the
to
plus
wage
side, at
war.
least our pilots got some good practice at bombing holes.
And I think that we need to, really look forward to.
I guess if we ever got a
positive,
bomb a fucking
ceasefire
someone hiding in a
and
hole
the entire
again,
world
we'll
needs to
have good
get around
practice
it.
now.
And members of Congress need to
The
unite
Iranians
now
were
and
hiding
not
their
divide themselves.
plutonium in the
This is the time to
hills.
get behind the president. This is the time to get behind Israel and move forward to deter, Iran, which has, prior to October 7th, really created a lot of problems in that region. And really, when you look at how the geopolitical power has changed since October
That's
7th,
bombing live.
Netanyahu and Israel has executed war, how they have really neutralized Hamas, Hezbollah. Iran is now isolated. These are all things playing to our favor going into any kind of negotiation.
Yeah, in general, leading up to U.S. involvement, there were 8 days of airstrikes by Israel inside Iran. And the Wall Street Journal has such a fantastic article about all of that and the planning that transpired leading up to these operations. It's called Inside Operation Narnia, the German attack. Israel feared it couldn't pull off. At midnight on June 13th, Israel's generals gathered in a bunker beneath Israeli Air Force headquarters and watched as jets descended on Tehran in an operation they called Red Wedding. Hours later, and 1,000 miles away, Iran's top military commanders were dead. A mass killing much like the famous from the solidarity drones. They were also detailed the simultaneous killing of Iran's top nuclear scientists, and they called it Operation Narnia because even they thought it was so fantastical. They weren't sure that they could pull this off. So how different is the region now than it was a week ago? And how does President Trump make sure it stays this way?
Well, I think it's very different, and I think the balance of power has shifted to Israel. That helps America support Israel and support the region in negotiations with Iran, who is, clearly a country that is an existential
Like
threat.
Trump said, they don't even know why the fuck they're fighting
also
anymore.
the United States. So what the president needs to do is, continue to do exactly what he is doing, support Israel, bring Iran to the table. They are primed for that now. They are isolated. Their proxies have been neutralized, so they can't bring a ground fight to Israel. Gaza is the next question. We need strong diplomacy. We need to unite the Western world
I'm concerned
around
about the sleeper cells.
this effort. And we need to re-energize the Abraham Accords. I've always been in favor of a regional solution, and I always thought that the Abraham Accords were an excellent way to bring that region together to develop stability and peace, and to marginalize actors like Iran who just want to disrupt things and become the regional power and have
Hey, make sure
everybody
you like, subscribe, share, and
kowtow
thumbs
to
up.
them. I think that's over. I think we have the momentum. We just need the pressure and pursuit and stay on that and don't let it out.
Keep on working towards it, and you're right, that's the hope that more nations will come onto the Abraham Accords, and all of this could be leading up to that. Yesterday we learned that the U.S. and Iran, there's no date for us to meet with them to continue negotiations, but that effort is also ongoing. General Bulldog, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
I'm Steve Doocy. I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page.
The fuck is dude going so slow for? Oh, that's why. I hear Trump talking. Let's see what Trump said.
prices anywhere in the world by sometimes a factor of 5, 6, 7, 8 times. It's not like they're slightly higher. They're 6, 7, 8, even cases of 10 times higher.
I guarantee you he's gonna...
So that you go 10 times more expensive for the same drug. That's big numbers. Even though the United States is home to only 4% of the world's population, pharmaceutical companies make more than 2/3 of their profits in America. So think of that. With 4% of the population, the pharmaceutical companies make most of their profits from America.
Zika, that's where
not
they
a
do
good
badass
thing.
carpets, so Zika.
Now, I think, by the way, pharmaceutical companies are
Yeah, it's the cement place.
they did one of the greatest jobs in history for that company, convincing people.
Oh no, that was somewhere on the outskirts.
Understood why.
Yeah, that was somewhere on the outskirts. I don't remember where that was. That was by the UPS place.
Companies have said that research and development costs were what they are, for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, I know.
They had to be borne
They got
by
a good spot and then they leave for no
America
fucking reason.
alone. Not anymore, they don't. This means American patients were effectively subsidizing socialist healthcare systems in Germany, in all parts of the European Union. They were the toughest of all. They were nasty. And I see that with trade too. European Union.
There's a big, beautiful American flag there. There's another big
China.
Oh, that's a smaller, beautiful American flag.
And we just started with them. Oh, they'll come down a lot. You watch. We have all the cards. They treated us very unfairly. They
still
sell
have
us
the cards.
13 million cards. We sell them none.
Oh wow, that's bogus. We sold them no
sell us
cars.
their
See, we should have a downtown skyline like Dubai. Our downtown should have the tallest building in the world.
It gives us all the cards.
And we should have a lot more taller buildings, just like Dubai's got. That's why we got to drill, baby, drill.
You know, because it's really the world we're talking about, not just the European Union, but because it's the world, the numbers are for the healthcare company not as bad as you would think. They'll make the same. I think the healthcare companies should make pretty much.
We're trying to expand downtown to there because they see the buildings, they get shorter than from those three.
It's just a redistribution.
Yeah, like those
of
1, 2,
wealth.
3. You got like 4 tall buildings like right here, and then like what?
Europe's gonna have to pay a little bit more. The rest of the world's gonna have to pay a little bit more. America's gonna pay a lot less.
Gotta get over there with the traffic.
It's a much smaller population than when you think of the whole world. So,
See, they're trying to expand. All the buildings need to be that tall from there all the way down to over there, continued on to over there. That's how our downtown should look. That's how our skyline should be looking.
There may be some countries in dire need, and I would be willing to sacrifice that, and help them. But it's called Most Favored Nation. We are going to pay the lowest price there is in the world. We will get whoever is paying the lowest price. That's the price that we're going to get. So remember that. So we're no longer paying 10 times more than
the Fed's wild card that
whoever is paying the lowest price. We will look at that price and we will say.
Israel begins way from
I'm Christy Nolan, the United States Secretary of Security. President Donald J. Trump. Now, President Trump has a clear message. If you are here illegally, we will find you and we will deport you. You will never return. But if you leave now, you may have an opportunity to return and enjoy our freedom and live the
we get a
American
shady
dream.
president again.
America welcomes those who
another
respect
Joe
our
Biden.
laws, because a strong nation is a safe nation.
I don't think so. I think now they would fucking end up trying to impeach him or something if they happen again.
That Iranian president had explicitly said that they're open to negotiations and diplomacy, and now with this messaging from the top leader, which doesn't really contradict that, even though it doesn't explicitly say it, I think the signals are that Iran is ready for diplomacy, as the Trump administration has also said they want to pursue it and potentially come back to the negotiating table. I don't know if their position has softened or potentially these attacks would have hardened their position, but we know that the last round of the most recent round of talks were scheduled for that Sunday, just 2 days.
What's up, Franken 39?
we heard from President Trump, I think it was yesterday, saying that a meeting was supposed to be had with Iran. He said, obviously, we haven't heard so far anything from the Iranians, but the President Trump also said he couldn't care if there's a deal or not. I'm guessing, what is the end game then?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know if there's a strategy on the U.S. side, like a long-term strategy. It kind of feels like things are happening by the week, if not by the day. One day, on the day of the Israeli attack, the White House state was that the U.S. had nothing to do with these attacks. And then the next day, the president's position started to change. He called it an excellent attack, a military achievement. And then within a week, the U.S. joined essentially the war between Israel and Iran. So I'm not sure if there's a long-term strategy, especially vis-a-vis conflict, but at least I would say President Trump was fairly consistent on the campaign trail in the first few months of his administration on wanting a deal with Iran, negotiations, which he did. I just don't think he gave it enough time. 60 days is not enough for getting a nuclear deal, which under the Obama team took 2 years of painstaking talks.
Yeah, and that deadline was somewhat arbitrary, right? As we've seen so many of these deadlines. Can I get a sense from you of the tone and the mood in the country right now? Because it seems that Iranian authorities are kind of pivoting from a ceasefire with Israel to kind of an internal security crackdown as well as repression. I'm seeing media reports of mass arrests and executions. What are you hearing from your contacts? And if this is in fact underway, what does it tell you about the regime and the direction it's wanting to take here?
Well, the domestic situation, the domestic atmosphere had been repressive even before the war began. But now the wartime atmosphere has added to that. Obviously, the Israelis achieved a lot of their successes on the ground because they had been infiltrate Iranian various systems, infrastructure, and a lot of those attacks were launched from inside the country with the help of their agents on the ground. And so the state is on a hunt against these agents. It's just past president has shown that not.
Ready to lose the hat and regrow the hair? With sprays by Hims, you can regain your hair and your confidence. Our sprays are powered by clinically proven ingredients like minoxidil and finasteride, so you can grow thicker, fuller hair in 3 to 6 months. Your treatment is 100% personalized to your hair goals and comes at an affordable price that works for you.
Live from the Diddy Courthouse. It's now dubbed as the Diddy Courthouse. Really good at 500 Pearl Street.
Diddy's Courthouse. I told you he was going to found not guilty.
Sean Diddy.
He's got the key to the city.
There's like 10 people that tried to put in a lawsuit
This is day 32. If everything goes according to schedule, this will be technically the last day of actual court before the jury gets to start their deliberation. If everything goes as scheduled, the jury will get their final jury instructions today, and the fate of Diddy's life will rest in the hands of 12 jurors and 5 alternates, all right?
Oh, he has 5 alternates?
Let me start off by saying my hello to some people tuning in. Tess is always here, every single live. If I go 7 o'clock in the morning, 12, 3, 5, it doesn't matter. Tess is always here. What up, Tess? Good morning. Phyllis David, good morning. Good morning. Christina, good morning.
Should I stand or get up?
Stay. 4 minutes slower.
4 minutes slower to stay on?
What up? Good morning. Angela Morgan. Good morning, AI. Good morning. Good morning, B. Good morning, E-City. Good morning, CL. What up? Kate, sorry, I said CL. KL. KL said, good morning. Looking.
Cut around everybody. Where am I going? Okay, there's no straight option. Am I going left?
This lane is going to hit him. Can you get the left for that?
Yes, good job. I'm not calling that. I told you.
Why would he have a gun?
Which way am I going?
Why would he have a gun?
Right here?
Right, yeah.
anything with it. Go to the moon.
Live from the Diddy. That is my summary. There's a window open, and Diddy's high-priced attorneys that he's spending $3 or $4 million a month on.
Yeah.
Have an opportunity today.
Well, he is a
Have
billionaire.
an opportunity to convince the jury.
I guarantee you his people. I guarantee you his people got through to some of those jurors and was like, "Look, we're gonna give you 100,000." I guarantee you somebody got to a couple of those jurors enough to make him get found not guilty, and they were like, "Here's a couple 100,000."
Church, please don't say that, Lord. I think you are wrong. It's not wrong.
You get each juror, like, you give at least 4 jurors, like, his son or some
prosecutors to make sure he's guilty. No, they didn't. All they took out was the attempted K word and attempted arson. They only took out the attempted. The K word.
The sleeper cells, that's what I'm talking about. I'm concerned about the sleeper cells.
If it's gorgeous, you want.
They're fucking up LA, the sleeper cells.
Deport them. Your problem's gone.
People are on high alert today after Iran made a chilling threat to unleash sleeper cells in retaliation to the attack by America on Iran's nuclear sites.
من هدف مشروع ایران هستند. آمریکا با این اقدامی که انجام داد علیه ایران و حریم هوایی ایران را شکست و جنایت علیه ایران انجام داد دیگه جایی در منطقه غرب آسیا نداره. آقای رئیس جمهور آمریکا شما شروع کردید و ما تمام
You're going a longer way. I'm not going a longer way, bro. We need to get there.
Act of aggression against Iran's peaceful nuclear facilities constitutes not only a flagrant breach of the UN Charter, especially the prohibition of the use of force under Article 2, Paragraph 4, and the obligation to respect the state's territorial integrity and sovereignty, but also a violation of UN Security Council Resolution 2031. It cannot be emphasized enough how much of a devastating blow that the U.S., a permanent member of the Security Council, has dealt to the global non-proliferation regime.
Look, their flags look a lot
The
like
Islamic
Mexican.
Republic of Iran reminds the United Nations, the Security Council, the UN Secretary General, the International Atomic Energy, the International Atomic Energy Agency, and other relevant international bodies of their duty and responsibility to take urgent and decisive action in response to this breach of international law. Silence in the face of such blatant aggression will
Johnson's really running our city into the ground. Look at this shit.
NBC went on to reveal that
fucking the
Trump
city
was
up.
aware of the threat of sleeper cell activation before the strike.
Because he's not being business friendly. Look at all these
Anyway,
abandoned
They
businesses.
said Iran sent a communique to Trump in the days before last night's strike on its nuclear facilities, threatening
Because
to
he's
activate
raping
sleeper
everybody
cell
with the
terror
taxes.
inside the United States if it were attacked.
He's raping the people that live here and
Got to Trump through an intermediary at the Group of 7 summit
raping
in Canada
households.
last week, which Trump left
He's raping
early
people
June
who buy
16
gas.
to
He's raping the mayor's raping everybody in
between
Chicago.
Israel and Iran, according to sources who include 2 U.S. officials and a person with knowledge of the threat. But threats of homegrown retaliation are not affecting Donald Trump, with the president only reacting with more strength and stronger threats against Iran. He said, any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. And despite Trump's tough talking,
more vacant businesses.
The threat of sleeper cell activation,
And it's a domino
which Tom
effect,
Homan
because-
brutally blames on Joe Biden.
Can you assess that
That's a
issue,
funny
particularly how many Iranians are in the country that are in sleeper cells trying to do bad to America right now?
It's like the Red Dawn.
Well, look, you and I have talked about this many times. Like,
Sleeper cells are like Red Dawn.
concern is this open border. It's the biggest national security vulnerability.
Enemy within. It's the people who came under Biden. No, it's like a bunch of people are going to get together and harm Americans.
Releasing the country between OFO and the Border Patrol. And you compare that to the Trump administration, zero, right? Zero releases. And right now, because
Make sure you all
Trump's
subscribe.
leadership, we have the most secure border in my lifetime, most secure border in the history of this nation. So we have a secure border. So that was President Trump's big win on securing this nation. So we're not releasing people in this country, especially when just aliens aren't crossing that border undetected. But under Joe Biden, we had over 10 million people cross that border.
Yeah.
But my biggest concern from day one, beyond the fentanyl, beyond the sex trafficking of women and children, were the 2 million known gotaways. Over 2 million people crossed that border. We don't know who they are, where they came from, because they got away, because Border Patrol was so overwhelmed with the humanitarian crisis that Biden created, that over 2 million people crossed the border and got away. That is my biggest concern, and that's what created the biggest national security vulnerability this country's ever seen.
Commentator Valentina Gomez agreed.
Joe Biden and his administration allowed thousands of terrorists into American soil.
Oh, wait, next slide. Right up there behind that silver car. Babe.
Activate sleeper cells in America. Stay armed, stay vigilant, and neutralize any threat before you get neutralized.
And this online commentator agreed also, saying sleeper cells wouldn't be a thing if Democrats didn't open our border.
Yeah,
for
Joe
4
Biden
years.
supporters.
But Vice President J.D. Vance assured Americans the U.S. has the capability to ward off any retaliatory attacks by Iran.
What we're prepared for is if they attack us in a maximum direction, first of all, we've got maximum defensive posture. I think that we're going to be able to defend as many of our people as possible. And of course, I'd encourage Americans to pray for our guys in the Middle East because, yes, they are under a significant amount of duress and a significant amount of threat right now.
They're saying we're number one.
But I don't think the president can be clear about this.
Here probably are saying that we're number one.
And they got purple here too.
We did not attack any civilian targets. We didn't even attack military targets outside of the
Iran and Israel
nuclear weapons facilities that were important to accomplish our goal of preventing Iran from having a nuclear weapon.
I've been on that bridge over there, so that bridge over there, that's an abandoned bridge.
But if you look at what we did, it was very precise, very narrowly tailored to
and
our
more
objective.
businesses that are
And
vacant.
If the Iranians decide to expand this,
More
then that's
vacant
ultimately
businesses.
their decision, and the President of the United States will respond to that.
Online commentators applauded Vance's measured response, saying, America thanks your perseverance to keep
It's
us
a domino
safe.
effect.
Iran can never have weapons. But not everyone is
Make
so
sure you hit that
supportive
thumbs
of the
up
Trump
if you're watching.
administration's decision to enter the war. This commentator said, it was like borrowing a cup of sugar from your neighbor, except instead of a quick knock on the door, you sent a fleet of stealth bombers, dropped bombs the size of washing machines, and then casually walked back home without even stopping for a chat. This captures the absurdity and understatement of describing a complex military operation as trivial and risk-free, correct?
Alright. See what's going on with P. Diddy real quick. Maybe I'm not live.
Not even in that court.
I wonder if Kanye West is gonna show up.
He doesn't make him let him in for what? He needs to get there early.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Babe, this goes into one lane. Got this big ass truck.
He needs to fucking go.
Fuck, he's got a fucking bridge on his back of his truck. See the fucking thing tilted side to side? I'd be scared to drive with that on there.
Mark goes on to say,
Looks like a couch.
That's a bridge, babe.
seems like everything is possible with Capricorn Clark.
Yeah, right. You're right.
I asked, she said, Came up here, was tough. Want to run away. I'm afraid of mountain lions.
You're afraid of mountain lions, so am I.
Mountain lions? Not saying they are not scary, but you were kidnapped with a gun? No.
This guy's saying about P. Diddy.
I feel like I can hear it from across the street.
You guys think P. Diddy's gonna get found guilty or not guilty?
Something like that. And to your point, go big or go home.
And welcome back here to Live Now from Fox. I'm Andrew
Couldn't you make him look so diabolical there?
In New York City, well, in Lower Manhattan today.
Like, subscribe, share, thumbs up. We'll come back later with more about Israel and P.
As he
Diddy.
led a criminal enterprise for 2 decades using